station inside the airport. Tired of riding the shuttle buses when you fly? Let KCI Car Care pamper you and your car. They offer valet parking and vehicle service while traveling out of town, which is both helpful and convenient. They drive you to your terminal, drop you off curbside in your own vehicle, and pick you up curbside when you return. To find out more, call 816-243-5880. That's 816-243-5880. KCI Car Care Center, the only way to fly.
So, you're spending today thinking about tomorrow and maybe a new or expanded home for your family. That's good. But buying, building, or improving a home takes know-how, and that's where my friends at First Federal Bank of Kansas City can help. At First Federal, helping you know and showing you how to succeed throughout the mortgage process is what they do best. Visit them at ffbkc.com or call 816-241-7800 and check them out on Facebook. First Federal Bank of Kansas City, better together. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Kansas City, spring is here, and that means golfing season. And if you're looking for the best membership deal in town, Tiffany Greens has several membership plans to meet your budget and level of play. With plans starting as low as $190 a month, Tiffany Greens Golf Club is the ideal place for you. And if you're looking to host an event or graduation party, Tiffany Greens Spacious Banquet Room is the perfect place for that event. But the calendar's filling up fast, so reserve your space today. For more information, visit TiffanyGreensGolf.com.
When you want Chiefs, follow the leader. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I feel like the opportunity to come out here for rookie minicamp, learn the defense, kind of go through the first couple of installs has been really good for me. It's great. It's everything you can ask for a football player, and the playbook is not as complex as I thought it'd be. It's a different playbook than Chip Kelly, so I just want to help the team however I can.
Your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279BI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Todd Surprise running the show. Jake running it back at Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kirk Elliott, my partner for the last 25 years. Kirk, last night was a big night at Lakeside Speedway.
Yes, it was. The first of a big weekend here in Kansas City. So all the action at Kansas Speedway now with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series tonight and the NASCAR Cup Series tomorrow. We'll get into all of that. And Todd, he was out at the ARCA race last night, so we'll talk about that. But I would say the most eventful part of the weekend so far was at Lakeside Speedway last night with that high-limit sprint car race. A lot of action there and a lot of eventful action,
Kirk,
in that race.
The 55 and the 24 got together on the first lap.
That was the biggest moment of the race when Kerry Madsen and Rico Abreu were trying to hit the same spot in turn 3, and it didn't work out so good.
Were you a little
for Kerry Madsen? It worked out in the end for Rico Abreu, but not so good for Kerry Madsen. And probably the worst end of the deal, Brad Sweet, the current point leader, didn't finish the race after going tumbling upside down. And then Kyle Larson came through and clipped it, and he was out of the race. So right in one fell swoop, the co-owners of the High Limit Racing Series got eliminated, Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson. Sweet tried to come back out, though, didn't he, Scott? We thought maybe he got it fixed. They pushed him back out, but I think they had some problems in the rear end. He had to come back in. He was out.
Kirk, they changed the front axle in that front on that car, and they didn't get it out there.
Well, they pushed him out after changed the front axle and replacing the wings on the car, but
the rear axle was bent.
Yeah, they had, and of course you can't you can replace the front axle in less than 2 minutes. We've seen that done time and time again. So they got Brad pushed back out there, and we're all thinking, okay, we've seen this before.
Right.
Brad Sweet gets in you were down at Devil's Bowl Speedway when he was racing with the World of Outlaws a couple of years ago, and it looked like that car was destroyed, and somehow they got it fixed and back out on the racetrack. Not so fortunate for the Casey Kane number 49 Brad Sweet, the driver, this time around. It was the damage was terminal, which you hardly ever see with Brad Sweet. He always finishes races, but not last night. And so
rear end damage.
Right. So Tyler Courtney, who ended up with a second place finish last night, is feeling really good after last night. A second place finish closing the gap on Brad Sweet.
Were you a little surprised that Rico started up front?
Well, he qualified well. Of course, Kyle Larson was the top qualifier of the night. And Rico was number 2 and Tyler Courtney number 3. So you know those guys were going to be starting up front. But after the dash, it was Austin McCarl and Kerry Madsen on the front row. Madsen starting from the pole position. And Rico and Brad Sweet were on row 2. Kyle Larson was on row 3 at the start of the race. So, with the track the way it was all night long, they were ripping up on the top side. We didn't see a lot of grip down on the bottom of the racetrack all night long. There wasn't a lot of passing up until the feature event last night. So you're thinking, even Kyle Larson and Rico Abreu starting where they did, it was going to be really tough for those guys to maintain the pace, because once things got spread out, it was going to be hard to chase anybody down. But I was surprised the track really came in during the main event, and there was it was a lot better in the main event than it was earlier in the night.
Traffic was brutal last night.
Oh yeah, it was a big factor.
Right.
And Rico was able to maneuver all of that, but I was surprised that Rico didn't get damage to his car, because he and Madsen made contact when they entered turn number 3. They started racing each other side by side. This was on lap 10. And somehow Rico got out of that with any damage. He was able to keep it going, and he restarted back up front, and the rest is history. Rico Abreu wins again.
Were you a little surprised that the wing damage on Kyle Larson's car kept him from coming back out on the track?
Well, I don't know that. Was that the only damage they had on that car? I mean, there was heavy damage on the right side of that wing. Of course, Kyle's not running for any points,
right.
So, they're not going to really bust their butt to get out there because they don't have points to run with. I'm not surprised that Kyle just pulled it in and parked it at that point. So, I mean, even if he were able to get it fixed and come back out, he'd have started at the back. He had no shot at winning the race at that point, so why bother?
Brad Sweet ended up flipping.
Yeah. I mean, Sweet got the worst end out of that deal, no question about that. Let's hear from, shall we hear from some of these top finishers?
Yep.
We got some sound. Here's Rico Abreu, who didn't do a full wing dance last night because he was mad at himself. He said, I caused that.
He
wreck.
Just jumped up on the tire, didn't he?
He just jumped up on the rear tire, and it was a mute celebration for Rico Abreu, who, by the way, we interviewed on our Mostly Motorsports show earlier in the week. We're going to hear more from Rico Abreu later on this hour from that interview from earlier in the week. But let's hear from Rico in the immediate aftermath of his victory last night. And it was a little bit of a bittersweet response from Rico. Let's hear it.
You just you got to pick and choose your battles in between these races, and they're sprint car races, so they're 30-lap events, and they're fast-paced. And we, just a little disappointed in myself for causing all the mayhem. So, but I'm very proud of my guys for giving me an incredible race car tonight.
What happened there in that incident with Sweet?
I just stuck my nose. I got to Madsen's inside, and I was already kind of down there, and he started, he was down there, and we were just kind of fighting for the same real estate, and I put him in a bad spot.
You didn't have anything wrong with your car?
I don't think so.
Now, about the restart for the rest of the race, the rest of the 30 laps, how challenging was that?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're trying to manage a race like that, it can become challenging, and I was just focusing on hitting my marks. I wanted to get to lap traffic so we could really race. And I feel like when you're leading like that and you catch lap traffic, you can understand the pace of the race and where everybody's, faster. If the bottom's getting better or staying fast, or the top's, getting faster, you can move around in traffic, and you really figure that stuff out quickly when you're in lap traffic.
Did you know how close Tyler was to you?
I'm sure they're always there. So these guys that race in this series are so competitive, and they, they're really, really fast all the time, and they never give up. So all these guys, and you can't ever count them out.
In these cars, they don't have rear view mirrors in these cars, so he just would assume that Sunshine was hot on his trail, and he was. He made it close there at the end, but was still too far back coming off the
Kerry Madsen flipped as well.
Well, Kerry Madsen, he was the guy that was involved with Rico at the beginning of that.
Right,
So,
yep.
And, what happened was when Rico got to the inside, it forced Madsen into a spin. He spun up, and then Sweet had nowhere to go. He just hit him and went tumbling, and then here comes Kyle Larson right after that. And he caught the damage, so it happened quickly.
I was a little surprised they didn't go in and change out that wing.
Well, like I said, why bother if you're not running for points? Kyle Larson is not running because he doesn't run all the races. So if he doesn't have a chance to win the race, if you're Kyle Larson, why would you bother? So, but I'll tell you, these other guys, they are racing for points right now. And the guy that comes out of there with the beneficiary of all this is second-place finisher Tyler Courtney, who cut that gap on Brad Sweet significantly last night. A solid second-place finish for Tyler Courtney. Let's hear from him.
Just hard racing. They ran out of room getting into three there and just ended up on top of each other. So just part of it. That's racing, especially when everybody's going for the win there. That's for the lead. And so just, unfortunately everybody came together there and, took out a lot of good cars.
What more did you need to try to catch Rico?
Either a few more laps or just not let him get so far ahead there on that long run before we got the traffic. Really needed to be closer when we got the traffic to be able to, try and do something with him. But no, he's just been really fast here, especially the last month or so. And we won't hang our hats on a second tonight, especially drawing an 8 in the dash and getting a row, and then coming from 6th in the feature was a great night for us.
Boy, Tyler Courtney he's a player for that championship. Now, we're all saying that, Brad Sweet's going to win this title because he always finishes races. Well, it didn't happen last night, so you got to say that Sunshine, there's a lot of races, there are probably 40 races to go this year. There's a long way to go, but Sunshine had to feel real good about not winning and still finishing second.
Kirk, he won that race by 5 lengths.
Rico did.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it was – but Sunshine was as close as he'd been the whole race right at the end, but he was still, as you pointed out, at least 5 car lengths short. Let's hear from the third-place finisher, Justin Peck, who drives for the Rudine Foundation, the Rudine number 26
He ended up running third.
Solid finish. Here's Justin Peck.
Just felt really tight, there. Something we've been fighting is like come feature time, we put a fuel load in, we just get really, really tight for some reason. And, it's our first night on a new, well, not a completely new engine, but a new engine from Ford and Shaver with the new style heads on it. And, it's definitely it has a lot more power than what we have been used to running here recently. And, that's what we've been needing. We've been talking about it and trying to develop this stuff, and seemed to be pretty good. Our engine package is definitely a lot better now. And we kind of knew that once we put some power back in the race car that we were going to have to change the race car handling-wise a little bit. And I just don't think we went far enough. But, all in all, it was a good run. It got to 6th early, and then, there was a 3-car pile up there about halfway through, and was the beneficiary of it. So happy to be on the podium, but, I want to be fighting for wins, and so we got to do a little bit more to be able to, to get up there and challenge a little bit when you don't start up there.
Justin Peck, the Rudine 26 in the Ford Power. We talked about Donnie Schatz on the World of Outlaw side, going back to Chevrolets for the rest of the year because of parts supply shortages. Well, that doesn't seem to be a problem with the Rudines. They're staying with it. Ron Shaver and Ford Power, and they had a really good night.
I want to give a shout-out to Scott Boguski. He ended up running 5th.
He did. Right behind the 4th-place finisher, Spencer Baston, who had his best finish of the year, coming from 13th to 4th. Here's Spencer Baston, who is now the driver of the Jason Myers 14 car.
Yeah, great rebound, definitely on the night. We were kind of scratching our heads the first part of the night just with such little grip on the racetrack and trying to make mechanical grip. We seemed to struggle a little bit, but hit it well there. The track kind of came into our liking middle to late of the race with the grip on the bottom. So was able to just kind of move around and search the first half of the race and then figure out what worked for us. And we went to work and just started driving by guys. So to start 13th, get a top 5 is definitely a really, really good night.
And there were 2 Jason Myers 14 cars last night. Corey Day was driving the other one. He was the full-timer last year, but now he's full-time. We'll see him in the truck race coming up later on tonight. He's full-time pavement guy now.
Mark Pierce said it's the worst for special events traffic-wise.
Lakeside Speedway?
Yep.
Well, that's nothing new since there's only one exit out of there.
Right.
You got to cross the railroad tracks to get out of there.
Right.
I got out in pretty decent shape because I learned to park out by the highway.
Where did you park at, Kirk?
Just a little ways in from the road that comes in where I can pull right out on the road. And I was out of there, I went down, did interviews, and races were over, and I wasn't in a hurry to get out of there. I got out of there in less than a half hour, which is good at Lakeside Speedway on a night like last night.
I left a little bit early.
Todd, he drove right out of Kansas Speedway last night, didn't you?
Yeah.
You didn't have any problems at all.
No, I live close enough, and it's my backyard. I know ins and outs, and yeah, I stayed for the whole race, post race, talked to Mr. Queen after the race, and
they call him Butterbean Queen.
Let me tell you, he's got a heck of a mullet, man. He's got that mullet working for himself, man.
He does?
Yeah, he does. He got the short in the front and party in the back, man.
So
and,
he dominated that race.
Oh yeah, and he couldn't happen to a nicer kid. You know what I mean? The guy, he was humble about everything. He was appreciative of everything, and it was pretty. Like you said, in the press room, he was pretty cool. But yeah, he sure climbed that. I thought he was just going to climb a little bit, Kirk. He just kept going and going, man. He went quite a ways up that fifth, old Helio Castro Neves style. He was climbing that fence last night.
We want to give a shout out to Don Mars, who picked up the vintage stock.
The owner of Lakeside Speedway.
Right.
How about that? The owner.
Pretty cool cars
last night.
Those are pretty good looking cars, though, they were running out there last night.
They put on a good show.
They had a lot of them.
28 cars.
That was a lot of cars.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Hey, let's before we go to break, let's hear from the winner of the ARCA race last night. We'll talk more about that. Steve Post is going to be joining us exclusively on Hour 2. He did the pit reporting for the Motor Racing Network. We had that race over on our sister station, 15 ESPN Kansas City last night. We'll be carrying the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Heart of Healthcare 200 tonight live on Sports Radio 810. Green flag at 6:30, and then tomorrow we'll have the Advent Health 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Green flag at 2 o'clock, coverage from MRN at 1, and we've got a pre-race show at 12 noon tomorrow that you and I are going to be doing.
Should be
12
fun.
noon tomorrow, so tune in. Got a lot of race coverage for the rest of the week. And let's hear from Brendan Queen after his ARCA Menards Series win at the Tide 150 last night. He talked about how important that was to race in the truck race last fall at Kansas Speedway. So he did have laps around Kansas before he raced this, and it was important to race in that truck race last fall.
Without having that truck last year, I'm not as prepared for this one. So I had a lot more confidence going on the track. At least I've seen the place. I've moved around. I've ran up by the wall. So tonight wasn't the first time I had to go up by the wall, where in the fall, I was nervous about it. So I think it's just all that's just led me to have a good day. And then, like you said, I mean, our day wasn't perfect. We had to change a motor, and I think we had enough practice. The track got hot, and my short track side of me is doesn't like to practice when it gets too hot because you don't really learn much, and you start slipping and sliding and thinking you're worse than you are. So honestly, it might have helped us not being out there the whole time, and then just went to work tonight.
Butterbean Queen, his second race, he won at Daytona.
Mullet Man.
Yep,
The Mullet Man.
second win, Daytona and Kansas. So
William Sawalich battled it out with Wallace Allen for the second place spot, but Sawalich came out. Mason Mitchell passed Wallace Allen on the final lap.
They went to
Final turn
overtime.
for third. Wallace Allen fourth, and the former point leader, LeVar Scott, ended up fifth. Brendan Queen took over the point lead after last night's win. We're going to see the ARCA series come back in September.
Yes, sir.
Kansas Speedway.
It's usually their big towards the wrap up of their year, when they come back around. But yeah, that was a pretty good race, Kirk. Like you said, it's always kind of cool when you get somebody that's in the victory circle that hasn't been there, in Kansas before, and also he's really appreciative of the spot he's in right now. He's a late model driver. He's from the East Coast, so he's a dirt guy. So we're going to try to get him maybe on the Mostly Motorsports show this year. He's got another dirt race coming up. What'd you say, Scott, in Springfield? I think it's in June.
Yep.
So he's got another
on the dirt.
So he does have another dirt race coming up, and he said he's looking forward to it.
I'm sure he'll be racing the Springfield Mile and Du Quoin later in the year.
I'm sure he will. Yes, sir.
The only other race not too far from Kansas City last night, the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series, was at Humboldt Speedway last night. Jacob Denny passed Chase McDermott for the lead with about 10 laps to go in that race to win the feature last night at Humboldt Speedway. Gavin Miller second. McDermott ends up third. Cameron Key and Cannon McIntosh rounds out the top five. That series will be at 81 Speedway tonight. So if you're so inclined to watch some midgets, head on down to 81 Speedway tonight.
It got rained out the other night, didn't it, Kurt?
The high limits was supposed to be at 81 and got rained out. They've had trouble getting the big shows in with the World of Outlaws having their feature canceled because of high winds. You remember that? Now they had the high limit, supposed to have the high limit there on Wednesday, rained out. So tough going there for John Allen, 81 Speedway, to get those big sprint car shows in. But it looks good for the midgets tonight down at 81 Speedway. Hey, we got a big guest coming up here in the next hour, don't we?
Steve Post.
Christopher Bell.
C-Bell.
How about that? And this is an interview that's not been heard yet. We did
Exclusive.
this. What was that?
Tuesday or Wednesday?
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. Yeah, Thursday morning. We had a few of them this week.
So this is fresh stuff. So that was a good interview.
Yeah,
so we're going to hear
C-Bell.
that here coming up here in a couple of minutes.
So
we might want to break now to do it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a lot of audio.
We got some Rico coming up later on. Again, hour two. Steve Post will be joining us live exclusively on Racing
John
Voice.
Hunter
And we also
Nemechek.
got John Hunter Nemechek.
Yes, sir.
That interview's not been heard yet either.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, who are we going to play? C-Bell? C-Bell. When we come back, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHP.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
The NASCAR Cup Series.
They mash the gas.
You got 4 minutes, gentlemen. 4 minutes.
Speedway.
Down low, Chris Buescher with drafting help for Ryan Priest. They tangle. Priest, they spin into the inside wall.
Will history be made yet again?
Black traffic straight ahead. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. Checkered flag is in the air.
It's the Advent Health 400.
Presented by Heartland Chevrolet in Liberty or heartlandchevrolet.com. Heartland Chevrolet, where nice people buy from nice people.
Vanderbilt's has all your work boots and clothing covered. Vanderbilt's has great prices on all the best brands. King, Utility, Wolverine, Carolina, Double H, Timberland, Pro, Carhartt, Reebok, Ariat, and more. And if you're looking for athletic, hiking, pull-on, or traditional lace-up, Vanderbilt's got you covered. We also carry widths and large sizes in stock. Vanderbilt's also carries a full line of work denim, fleece shirts, socks, and gloves. Vanderbilt's with stores in Lawrence, Topeka, and Wamego. Vanderbilt. Go to Vanderbilts.com for more info.
Graduation season is just around the corner, and it's time to start planning for your grad's big day. You can check the food off the list with a barbecue spread from Joe's KC. Joe's is perfect for friends, family, and out-of-town guests craving championship KCQ. No party is too big or small. Let Joe's help you plan the perfect meal by calling their catering team at 913-362-0661 or book online at joeskc.com. Joe's KC has your grad day covered.
Only a few days remain for your chance to win the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway. Visit stjude.org/810WHB to reserve your $100 ticket for your chance to win a house and the ultimate sports getaway, including 2 premium lower-level seats to any pro football regular season game of your choice. Winners will be announced on May 21st. Ticket sales benefit the mission of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, finding cures, saving children. Visit stjude.org/810WHB or call 800-301-4565.
It's playoff time, and with Pick 6 from DraftKings, you can turn your hoops knowledge into real cash. Just make your picks, track your score, and if you hit all 6, you're looking at bigger payouts than Prize Picks Flex pays. Nobody's dropping better payouts than Pick 6. Hit 6 picks, and that's 25 times your cash. And if you beat your competition, you could be looking at a 500 times bag in your pocket. And right now, new customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. The playoffs are on, so why not take a shot at making a little money while you're watching? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB to play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks. Better payouts, bigger wins, only on Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions varied by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law knew what to do and got me $500,000.
Mike's got this.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
30 seconds, gentlemen, 30 seconds.
Golfing season, and if you're looking for the best membership deal in town, Tiffany Greens has several membership plans to meet your budget and level of play. With plans starting as low as $190 a month, Tiffany Greens Golf Club is the ideal place for you. And if you're looking to host an event or graduation party, Tiffany Greens spacious banquet room is the perfect place for that event. But the calendar's filling up fast, so reserve your space today. For more information, visit TiffanyGreensGolf.com.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Joining us now is Christopher Bell. Christopher, man, you started off with a bang, didn't you? You got your 3 wins.
Yeah, the start of the year went pretty much exactly how you dream it up. That's for sure. To get the ball rolling there, leading the Daytona 500, coming down to the end of the race. Obviously, we didn't end up with that win, but it was still a really good start to the year. And then to rattle off 3 in a row was pretty strong. So, yeah, it feels like we've taken a step back a little bit. So we need to get back up top. Hopefully it starts this weekend in Kansas.
Hey, talk about Kansas Speedway a little bit, because that racetrack is so racy. Just talk about that racetrack a little bit.
You had a good car last year, didn't you?
Yeah, Kansas has been a really good track for me in the past. We've always qualified really well there, and racing, it feels like we've just kind of been close every time. I feel like my best car was probably last year in the fall, and then I did a bad job driving, made a couple mistakes that really took me out of contention for the win, but I have confidence that we're going to be competitive again there this time. So great racetrack. It's a lot of fun because you can really the line opens up. I think if you pick a racetrack for this generation of car, Kansas is probably the best one on the calendar for us.
It's going to be hot and slick this weekend, isn't it? How's that going to play into the race?
Yeah, I mean, there are some racetracks that really change with temperature, but Kansas is one of those places that's pretty consistent, and it races pretty similar no matter what the conditions are. But, yeah, I'm thankful that we're going to have some sunshine for sure. It'll be nice to, have a good show. Normally Kansas brings a great crowd out, too, so we should put on a really good race for the crowd out there.
You won your first ever Xfinity race at Kansas Speedway. We remember that very well, 2017. How big was that in your career to get that win back then?
Yeah, it was a pretty cool moment, honestly, to be able to get my first win for Joe Gibbs Racing was, it really solidified myself in my role at JGR. So, you never know when those moments are going to happen, but getting those first wins, and especially so early on in my Xfinity career, I think that was like race 3 or 4 for me. So it was a really big win, big opportunity for me, and Kansas will forever have a special place in my heart because of that race.
Hey, we have to talk about the Chili Bowl. You 3-time winner of that Chili Bowl with KKM. Just talk about that a little bit.
You had fun last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I love going to that race. It is a ton of fun, and getting to race with Pete Willoughby, Keith Kunz is really special. They were the ones who got me going in national level motorsports, and I'm forever grateful for that. So the Chili Bowl, is in my home state, and it's the race that I grew up going to, watching all the superstars as a young kid. So. To be able to win that race and go back there and compete in it as a NASCAR driver is something that I cherish, and hopefully I can have that same impact on young kids that the NASCAR superstars had on me whenever I was there as a kid.
Right. How big is that for you to be able to now go back? Joe Gibbs going to allow you to race some sprint cars. You've won a couple in the World of Outlaws, and how big is that for your driving to be able to now do the sprint cars and the midgets?
Well, I do think that it helps keep a little bit sharper, but it's hard to quantify how much that is. But more importantly, I think it's just really good for my mental state, and it's really fun and enjoyable to go out there and do it. And now, whenever I get behind the wheel of really anything that's not the Cup car, it's just for fun. And the Cup car that's my job, and that's where all the pressure lives. And you need to be able to go out there, and all of us in the industry fell in love with racing for the love of the sport. So, Cup racing's your job, and you have to take it serious. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of money, a lot of people involved in the Cup side. But then whenever you get to go sprint car racing or Xfinity racing, midget car racing, it's it's a lot more low key fun. The results don't matter, and it's just very enjoyable to go do that.
We did the broadcast for 16 years. The Racing Boys did. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, yeah.
I did know that.
Yeah, you were there for all of that when we were down there covering that. Hey, just getting back to Kansas Speedway. Well, why is Toyota so good at Kansas Speedway?
Well, I mean, honestly, that's a great question. I don't exactly know. It really started with the introduction of the next gen car, and we can say Toyota's good there, which they are, but really the 2311 cars were the first ones to hone in on Kansas Speedway. And that first year of next gen, I'm pretty sure Kurt Busch and Bubba got the 2 wins at Kansas Speedway, and then ever since then, it seems like they've hit on a package that works really good. And we share notes, like JGR 2311 works really close together, so we understand. We know what they have in their cars, but we just haven't been able to duplicate it. I know Denny has been pretty competitive there in the past, but it feels like the 2311 cars have just had a little bit step up on us. So I know the 20 teams working hard to go out there and take that next step to get to victory lane, but we've been close for sure.
Do you feel like you've got a chance? You're 86 points back. Do you feel like you got a chance to win this championship this year?
Well, yes. Right?
The regular season championship?
Regular season championship.
Right.
We're still not even halfway through the regular season yet, and it's super, super tight in the points. I know Williams got a little bit of a jump on the rest of us, but I think Larson's right there with him, and then the race for third is super tight. So, you know, for me and my team, we've been getting decent finishes out of the races, but we just haven't really been running well yet. So, you know, I look at Texas Motor Speedway last week. We got a top 10 finish out of it, but I was, you know, couldn't even run inside the top 20 majority of the day. So we've got a lot of gains to make on our performance side, and you know, need to start winning or earning some stage points for sure. It's been a struggle. We haven't been able to qualify well, which Kansas is normally a really good track for us qualifying. So hopefully this is a turnaround for us to allow us to get some stage points and compete for you know, stage wins too.
Are you going to be allowed to race at the high limit race at Lakeside Speedway?
Yes, I am allowed to race the Lakeside race. Unfortunately, I will not be competing in that event. The team that I've been driving for, the Kreitz Racing 69, they are committed to run the World of Outlaw events up in Pennsylvania that weekend, or this weekend. So I won't be at Lakeside, but I'll be around at some point.
You had to be disappointed. You were supposed to race one night. Where was that? Rocket last weekend got rained out. You got one night in, though, didn't you, at Texas?
Yeah. The weather in Texas was obviously wild. There was a lot of rain down there. So, yeah, I was happy that we got the first race in at Texas Motor Speedway. And my sprint car schedule is going to gear up a little bit more whenever we get into the summer months.
Where's some of the places you're going to be racing at this summer?
Well, it looks like I'm going to be at Grandview here in a couple weeks. We're on the fence about going to Fremont for the high limit race. You know, it's just going to depend on how the Kreitz boys do with Darren Pittman at the wheel this weekend at Williams Grove. But yeah, I hope to be. I'll definitely be at Grandview here in a couple weeks, and hopefully be at Fremont too. We're
showing your merch page. We always talk about your merchandise. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the NASCAR.com and JGR has a site too. That's where you can find my NASCAR gear. We haven't done a run of dirt gear in a while, so maybe we'll have to gear up on that whenever we get to the summer.
So how big is qualifying to set yourself up for a good finish at Kansas?
Well, I've always been a firm believer that if you have a great race car, qualifying doesn't matter. And, you know, everyone proves that true. Even last week at Texas Motor Speedway, Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, and I think Ross too, they ran 1, 2, 3 from starting maybe even outside the top 20. But I do think that qualifying has a big bearing on stage points and how you finish in that first stage. And if you don't have a great race car, qualifying really matters. You know, for myself, at Texas Motor Speedway, we qualified in the teams, and it looked like we were going to have a top 10 day. But then I got a penalty, a pit road penalty, and had to go back to the back, and then that really derailed our day. So if you have a great car, you can make your way up through there, but it's those days where you don't have a great car, you just have a good car, and you know, it's really hard to pass with those. So you know, all the great cars can move through the field, but everyone else is really just stuck in position.
How difficult is it to drive the new car?
The thing is about the new car is that you have a lot of grip until you have no grip. So, you know, it's pretty easy to get it around the racetrack and stay under the tire, but whenever you start pushing the limits, you're right on the ragged edge of stepping over it and spinning out all the time. So, you know, it's a tricky car to master, and we've seen that. You know, the greatest in our sports are really struggling with it at times.
Well, good luck to you this weekend. Congratulations on all your success that you've had so far. We appreciate you spending time with us, Christopher. Look forward to seeing you out here this weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
You bet. Take care.
Ryan Smith is driving the car out, the 69K car out there in the East Coast.
Well, he did drive that car on Wednesday night at Lincoln Speedway, Ryan Smith. Of course, he won a big race, the the Keith Kaufman Classic at Port Royal. Ryan Smith was in that 69 car and won that big race, and he ran Wednesday night at Lincoln, but sounds like Darren Pittman's in that car. Of course, they got rained out at Williams Grove last night, but Darren Pittman sounds like he's driving that car at Williams Grove this weekend, but we'll see Christopher back in the 69 sprint car. He's already won a couple of World of Outlaw races in that car. Remember down at Volusia in Florida, C. Bell doing pretty well. And, of course, we remember him back in January out at Tulsa when he won the Tulsa Shootout in that epic battle with Kyle Larson, and then ran the Chili Bowl. He didn't have as good a finish as he wanted in the Chili Bowl, but still ran up in the top 15 of that race. So Kyle Larson won the Chili Bowl, by the way. But it's fun to see C-Bell back in a dirt car, I'll tell you that. But he's now a championship caliber driver now. I think it's only a matter of when, not if, C-Bell wins a NASCAR Cup Series championship. He's been in the Final Four 2 out of the last 3 years. And there's people saying not only will he win a championship someday, but Christopher Bell is a multi-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. You buying into that?
I'm buying into it, Kirk. I think that Christopher Bell is going to win a championship one day.
And maybe even more than one.
Right.
So
yeah,
I'm going to say let's get the first championship under, because you remember Kyle Larson's only got one championship still too. So
it's
hard to win these championships.
It is, and I believe C. Bell has the makeup of of a NASCAR champion type of driver. You know what I mean? He just, to me, he takes it really serious, and
he's good on all the tracks.
And he's good at, that's what I was going to say, he's really good at all the different styles of track. So nothing is going to shake him as far as thing. But I'm with you guys. I think he'll get one eventually, and then that'll flip the switch for him, and he'll pick up a couple of them.
If you're driving for Joe Gibbs Racing,
you always got a chance, don't you?
Yeah, that makes a difference who you're driving for. If you're driving for a top-level team, that gives you a pretty good shot at it for sure. Christopher Bell, happy that he's able to join us out here, and he's got a chance to win out here tomorrow. We'll see how qualifying goes later on this afternoon.
That crowd was at maximum capacity last night, wasn't it?
Lakeside Speedway was packed.
Right.
Yeah, there were no seats left available. I was sitting up in the grandstand, not the main grandstand.
The
in
top
front,
8 rows were reserved.
Yeah, but I was sitting in the wooden grandstand, which is right beside the building there. There were still a few places where people could sit down, but there were a lot of people standing behind the rail of the main grandstand last night. But it was packed. It was a big crowd at Lakeside.
All right. Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, we're
going to hear from Rico Abreu, an interview that we did earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports. We heard from him right after his win last night, earlier this hour, but we're going to hear some of that interview, part 1 of Rico Abreu, coming up after the break. So we're going to get to that. And hour 2, we got Steve Post live. He's the pit reporter for the Motor Racing Network's coverage of the races that we'll hear tonight on Sports Radio 810 WHB, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. And
you had a chance to hang out with him a little bit last night, didn't you?
Sure did. Hung out with the postman. I walked him to his production meeting and down through the pits, and we had a pretty good conversation about some racing, about what was going on. He would have been out there at the race at the dirt track, but he was doing he was live broadcast, and he was calling the show. So
well, he's a big sprint car guy. He's the host of Wing Nation.
Absolutely. So I asked him
I'm surprised he didn't get down.
Well, he had to work the ARCA race.
He did Victory Lane too. So he had the whole Victory Lane. The photo that you see on our website, I took that photo from Victory Lane, and I appreciate that.
You did it all last night.
And you could see Steve Post right there on the right-hand side waiting to do the interview, so he didn't get out there until pretty late. So I asked him, I go, you going down there? He said, heck no, that traffic's going to be bad. I couldn't even find it. There's no way I could get in and out of there.
It took a while for Brendan Queen to get to Victory Lane.
Man.
I was listening to the broadcast last night. postman had to fill a little bit.
He did, didn't he?
And once he got out of the car, he had to glad hand everybody.
Oh
on the
no,
team.
he was wrangling them all up, guys. It was one of those things where I thought the same thing, Kirk. I was like, come on, let's get this bad boy going, because I know Steve's thinking I got stuff to do, man. So, but it was good stuff last night.
All right, Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, who are we going to?
Rico
Abreu. Next, right here on Track Talk.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg.
3 minutes, gentlemen, 3 minutes.
10-4.
Cal, you've done it again.
We've done it again, Toby. We won the President's Award again this year. This is the 22nd time we've been awarded this awesome honor from Ford Motor Company.
But what is the President's Award?
The President's Award is the top award Ford Motor Company gives its dealers for excellence in customer satisfaction in both sales and service and their sales penetration numbers. So we are super honored to have received this award for the 22nd time.
It covers the whole works at Lewisburg Ford.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the awesome people we have working at Lewisburg Ford and helping our customers, and it really shows with this award because it's only a few dealers that get it, and we've done it 22 times.
I guarantee you this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck in the Midwest.
Absolutely. You couple that President's Award lineage with our no-hassle Toby Tobin pricing, it does not get any better than that.
What is your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Or LewisburgFord.com.
What's better than 4 brand new tires from Big O? 4 brand new tires plus free pizza for a year. That's what. Now through May 24th, get a free pizza for a year when you purchase 4 tires from your locally owned and operated Big O tires. That's right, free pizza for a year with the purchase of 4 tires. So what are you waiting for? Visit any one of the 13 locally owned and operated Kansas City Metro Big O tire locations today. Go to BigOTires.com to find the location nearest you and schedule an appointment. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hey, Kansas City, this is SSJ for Window Nation. May marks the start of rising temperatures. Beat the heat with Window Nation's semi-annual sale. Get 60% off and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. Plus, no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2027. That's a whole lot of savings and a super smart investment when prices are going up. Their windows also come with a lifetime warranty, so you'll keep saving long into the future. Hurry, the sale ends soon, so don't wait to get your estimate. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com.
1 minute, gentlemen, 1 minute.
Greenlight Kansas City is cleaning house. Literally, it's our spring cleaning clearance event, and deals are dropping all month long. From first-timers to long-timers, you'll find unbeatable savings across all 5 Kansas City locations. State Line, Bannister, Independence, Harrisonville, and now open on Ward Parkway. And don't miss our Mother's Day Super Saver. Yes, it's flour for mom, the way she really wants it. Come stock up before we clear it out. The best cannabis deals are always at greenlightdispensary.com.
When you want Chiefs, follow the leader. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I feel like the opportunity to come out here for rookie minicamp, learn the defense, kind of go through the first couple of installs has been really good for me. It's great. It's everything you can ask for a football player, and the playbook is not as complex as I thought it'd be. It's a different playbook than Chip Kelly, so I just want to help the team however I can.
Your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. We had a chance to talk to Rico Abreu on Mostly Motorsports on Monday. Kirk?
And we're going to have 2 parts of it. We're going to have part 2. We heard from Rico right after he won last night, earlier this hour, but this is an interview that we did over the phone on our every Monday Mostly Motorsports show. So let's go to part 1 of Rico Abreu from earlier this week. So that race at Texas Motor Speedway the other night, green to checker without a yellow flag, and you were able to hold off Kyle Larson. You've done that twice now over the last 3 weeks. How'd you do it on Saturday night?
Oh, I mean, I with just how fast the pace was set for the race, it was when those races go to green to checkered like that, it can get quite intense there. When you're in lap traffic, and I always strive on finding, getting to traffic and starting to race, where you can judge your pace off of lap cars and being able to maneuver around on the surface to see where your car's better. And I think that can really put you in position to execute and finish a race off like that. And especially when you got, guys like Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, Brent Marks, Reitzel, they're all coming behind you. So you got to race as hard as you can. They're sprint car races. That's the goal for me.
Do you get a lot of pleasure out running Kyle Larson? Do you get a little more pleasure out of that?
I mean, I think anytime you can be in position to beat the best drivers in the world, it's always a good feeling. And I try to treat these races, like they're the Knoxville Nationals and the Kings Royals, and just to run, it's almost like I really like to run plays through my head of just how I'm going to perform well at these events, and to continue to think that and process it, and things that I would do differently going back, and it's all just how we dissect things as race car drivers, and anytime you beat the best, it's always going to be a good feeling.
You've won 3 out of the last races. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I put a lot of that success, all that success on my team. They, having Ricky Warner work for Rico Abreu Racing and Zach Middlebrooks and Brady Forbrook, I have an unbelievable group of personnel, and they just they all think the same, and they're all passionate about sprint car racing, and it's really allowed me to focus on my driving, and just their critical thinking throughout the night, being able to make change to the car, and little, we're working with quarter-inch increments, with the adjustments we make, and I think it becomes, in those crucial moments of right before you're pushing off for an A-main, to allow myself to execute as a race car driver. They make me look really, really good out there on the racetrack, and that car Saturday night was pretty unbelievable to drive.
How much different was the track from when you raced on it Thursday night to Saturday night? You didn't race on Friday.
The racing surface on Thursday night was quite a lot wetter, so it changed. We had multiple restarts. The temperatures were cooler. It was a little, the humidity was a little muggier, and we were just, the track wasn't, as lane sensitive, and you've seen, definitely some of the guys that performed well on Thursday night, they didn't perform as well Saturday, just with the way the track developed on Saturday, and the dry, slicker conditions, a lot more abrasive on the tires. You had to be very disciplined with your feet work to manage tire wear throughout the race, and I think those are just things that you see come with experience, of race teams and drivers, and the outcome of the race was a little bit different on Saturday, that's for sure.
Talk about your footwork a little bit. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't want to give out all my secrets.
Right.
I just focus on consistency with my feet, and utilize the brake pedal as a tool to when I'm able to apply a lot of throttle in sprint car. You use the brake pedal to to hold the car into the left front, entry to center of the corner, and to continue that balance. If there's any disrupting portions of the track where the track pits or unravels, it can, the brake pedal can help you navigate through those holes where the surface is, the car's, it's either your top or bottom, and then when you catch lap traffic, you really focus on keeping your car in clean air, and sometimes you can utilize the middle of the track. So the brake pedal, is, I try to keep them percentage-wise the same. If I'm really aggressive with the throttle, I can be really aggressive with the brake pedal at times. And, I just focus on that. And I watch, Donnie Schatz and Brad Sweet and David Gravel of, the drivers in this era of for me, of racing. It, you can really study things, with the way their brakes now glow entry a corner and when they're using the brakes or when they're not using the brakes, to seeing the attitude of their race car. And, I feel like that's a big advantage if you can figure that out.
When you outrun Brad Sweet, that's always a great accomplishment, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the most consistent between him and David Gravel. They're the most consistent race car drivers in the country. And then you throw Kyle Larson in the mix, who is the greatest driver of all time. And we're getting, it's just a pleasure to get the opportunity to even race against them and to learn against them. I feel like they raise the bar in our sport, and they are, what makes us drivers so hungry to come back and get better, and my team get better as this infrastructure of what we built here at Rico Abreu Racing to perform well consistently. I think that's the big picture for us. And when you put yourself in position to win these races, eventually, you're going to conquer your goals as long as you stay consistent and disciplined.
Rico picked up the win last night at Lakeside Speedway.
That's all he's been doing is winning. So he's got 4 wins out of his last 5 races now. If you count last night, because, with the rain out at 81 Speedway on Wednesday night, the only night that he didn't win was the first night at Texas Motor Speedway when Brent Marks won.
Right.
You date back to the 2 straight Saturday nights he won at Knoxville. He won the World of Outlaws race up there a few weeks back with 65 cars, and everybody was there that night. That was a Nationals quality field. And then the following week, he won the season opener for the weekly racing up at Knoxville. Then he goes down to Texas and wins there last Saturday night in a race that went green to checker without a yellow flag and held off Kyle Larson for the second time. But last night, he claimed responsibility of taking Kyle Larson and his co-owner of High Limit, Brad Sweet, out. So a little bit of a bittersweet victory lane for Rico last night when he didn't climb all the way up on the wing like he normally does after a win. He just stood up on the rear tire.
He just stood up on the rear tire.
So we're going to hear more from Rico in hour 2. We're also going to hear from John Hunter Nemechek, Cup Series driver for the Legacy Motor Club team. He drives the 42 car in the NASCAR Cup Series. He'll be racing out there this weekend. Tomorrow's Advent Health 400, and of course he'll be qualifying today in that 42 car. John Hunter Nemechek has a couple of wins out here at Kansas Speedway. He's won 2 Xfinity races out here at Kansas, and he's won a truck race, but he'd like to visit Victory Lane
in the Cup Series.
In the Cup Series. So he's got 1 truck and 2 Xfinity Series wins at a track where the Nemechek family has done very well. His memory's dad, Joe, won both the Cup and the Xfinity race back in 2004, and John Hunter has carried that legacy on, and we'll see how he does in the Cup Series. It's been a little bit of a struggle this year so far for John Hunter.
I want to give a shout-out to Marvin, who's checking in from Miamisburg, Ohio, and Kelly, who's checking in from Central Point, Oregon.
Yeah. There we go. How'd we do on our picks last weekend, Todd? You've been keeping track.
Last week we had I had Bush and Elliott.
I had Blaney again, and I'm still going to pick Blaney until he wins.
We're going to make our picks in hour 2.
You picked Blaney too.
I did.
So we'll see how Ryan Blaney has not won at Kansas Speedway, but he's won a pole out here.
All right, hour number 2 coming up. You can watch it on Facebook, YouTube, and RacerBoys.com.
Steve Post live. John Hunter Nemechek, more of Rico Abreu, exclusively hour 2.
All right, hour number 2 coming up. We appreciate you tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Rod End Supply.
Thanks to Jay Powers, Todd Surprise. Great job as always. Stay with us. Hour 2 coming up next.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products since 1980.
I goofed on the 2-minute thing. I
That's all right,
keyed the
man.
mic. I keyed the mic, and then I realized that I wasn't like all the way up, so I was like talking to myself. I was like,
It's all good. We heard.
I'll just play.
I heard the music. I got the cue. We're good, brother.
All right, man. Enjoy the races.
You too, man.
I'll see you. Yep, we'll see you next week.
Perfect. Holler if you need something, brother.
All right, man.
RodEndSupply.com.
Get ready for
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to RodEndSupply.com.
Sure, especially sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sabres 33 RLP. Let's go take a tour. Coming into this animal, we're going to take a trip back here to the feature of this trailer, the deck. Check it out. It's awesome. It's 4 by 10 feet. You can dance on this thing. Boom! Check it out. It's pretty nice. And then coming to the back of this thing, you got a 75-inch TV. It's huge. 60-inch fireplace. It's nice and big, keep you warm. Then you got an ottoman that converts into a table, if you will. Maybe some TV trays. Then this hide-a-bed that I'm pointing at, it comes out and folds into like a king-size bed with storage in the corner for all your linens. Great little addition to the trailer. Your dinette, of course. Then you're gonna come around to the kitchen with the tic-toc sink. It's got the spritzer and the waterfall and all that stuff. Residential style refrigerator. It's got the microwave and the oven that's residential as well. Big old pantry over here with motion detected lights, coffee bar, and then coming up to the bedroom, you'll have the bathroom first, nice and spacious with a seat in it for them ladies. And then we got the king size bedroom with washer dryer hookup. I'm telling you, this is a home run for a couples coach. Come to see me, Kyle Walker.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
So we have a lot of folks come in
interested in traveling for work, this is going to be a great option. Your Coachman Northern Spirit 2565 front kitchen. You have a nice wraparound full front kitchen here, huge windows up top, big 12-volt refrigerator, lots of windows on the sides here, great natural light coming in. You have your big TV over here on the swing arm bracket so you can kind of see it from any point in the room. Also have your bar stools here, sit and eat your breakfast. In the bedroom, you're going to have a king-size bed in the slide-out. Lots of storage underneath that. Washer, dryer, hookup, tons of storage with the drawers. Then you got your full bath across the back. When it comes down to a camper that you can get for 6,500 pounds and be under 30 feet long, this is an absolute home run.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum, and our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy. You are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio, or RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Todd Surprise running the show. Kirk Elliott, my partner for 25 years. Kirk, can you believe that we've done 25 years together?
Hey, we're getting close to the anniversary, aren't we?
Right.
Is that like the first weekend, last weekend in May, first weekend in June? It'll be 25 years. You and me have been doing this together. That's incredible.
I was telling Ryan Westwood here in Kansas
That
City.
is unbelievable.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
I was talking out at the track yesterday. Ryan Westward of KQRC The Rock. You know, he's the only member left that's left out there at The Rock. He's the midday show, but he's also the guy who does all the pre-race festivities, and he does the driver introductions. He's the guy you see on the mid.
Right.
Yep.
And I talked to him last night a little bit and told him that we were celebrating our 25th year. And he said, man, that's hard to do in radio. He said, you know, Johnny and all them, they were in their 33 year.
Right.
Because they got their show going the year me and my wife got married. So that's how I always knew it was 1993. And I talked to him and I said, you know, Scott and Kirk have been doing it 25 years. I've been with them now 12. And he said, man, anytime you can say you've been in anything on a radio station on any platform, doesn't matter, talk radio, music, whatever, if you can do more than 2 decades, you've done something that most of the majority of the country ain't able to do.
You know, Kirk has put up with me for 25 years.
Well, yeah, and you were here even longer than that. You started out with Union Broadcasting in, what was that, 97?
97.
96?
Right.
And so you were doing a show even before, 810 came into being on the 810 platform at 50,000 watt. Sports Radio 810 WHB really started in 99, but before that, Union Broadcasting, you were on 1510. I was doing a local motorsports show as far back as 1989.
You were all NASCAR. All NASCAR.
When I first started out, it was mostly NASCAR, but did a lot of other stuff, and had Western Auto as a sponsor. You remember that? Darrell Waltrip's sponsor back in the day.
Big in Kansas City, man.
You ended up coming over to me.
I did, because you like talking about the dirt racing.
Right.
And I like that. You know, I want to talk more about that, and you were here to do it. So here we are.
Hey, the problem was when you wanted to talk about Lakeside Speedway.
Well, yeah, it was when they put dirt on Lakeside Speedway. You know, it wasn't always a dirt track.
Right.
The new Lakeside Speedway started out as a pavement track back in 1989.
I won a lot of races on that
did,
pavement track.
On the pavement. And so they put dirt on it in 2000, and that was a huge – I talk about the traffic, you know, as similar to what we saw last night at Lakeside. The first night they put dirt on it, it was lined up all the way out to 435. The night they put dirt on, I want to talk about it. And the guys I were doing
last night, the line was all the way out to 435.
It was another big line, as you'd expect.
Right.
So, but anyway.
Speaking of somebody who knows a little bit about dirt racing, got the Postman joining us now.
Steve Post joining us now on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Steve, I was shocked that you did make it down to that sprint car race last night.
Yeah, you know, the ARCA series was there at Kansas, and this boils down to there was two places I wanted to be at the same time. I wanted to be up at Lakeside for the high limit race, but I wanted to be at Kansas for the ARCA Menard series race. My employer, MRN, was covering the ARCA Menards race, and so the bottom line of it is that I was at Kansas. I was out there at the racetrack for the ARCA race. I thought about sneaking up to Lakeside, but I just with transportation and rides and sharing rides and everything else, it's like I'll just come back and actually watch the A-Main, A-Main on Flow Racing. But yeah, that was one of those nights. Two places very close to each other that I wanted to be, and I was at Kansas Speedway.
Steve, let me tell you something. That traffic was brutal last night.
That was the other. That's the other thing. I absolutely love Lakeside Speedway. I love going out there, but it's all you need is one improperly timed train, and you've got yourself a little bit of a mess. And I absolutely love the chances. I've probably been out there 6 or 8 times and love it. But yeah, it's a little tricky getting in and out of there on the one road. But the high limit show looked like it was worth it. It looked like a good show, and Rico picked up the win. And but I was tucked into my hotel room here in Kansas City when that was all taking place.
Well, before we talk about the sprint car racing, I want to tell you I was listening to your broadcast last night, sitting up in the grandstands out at Lakeside. There was a little downtime, not any racing going on in the final 15 laps of the Tide 150 last night. And I listened to the end of that race, and I enjoyed your coverage waiting for Brendan Butterbean Queen to be able to talk to you after he glad-handed everybody in Victory Lane, climbed the fence. You had some time to fill there before you finally got to him at Victory Lane last night. What about Brendan Queen climbing the fence and all of the aftermath before you were able to get the Victory Lane interview last night? That was fun to listen to.
Kurt, we joke around about it. We call it tap dancing, and I had my Fred Astaire shoes on last night. I was, of course, any young kids don't even know what I'm talking about, but you guys understand what Fred Astaire would mean. And yeah, it was I am telling you, we're in for a treat over the next few years with Brendan Queen. And here's what struck me last night. I've covered Butterbean probably the last 6 years. We covered his races at Martinsville. I've covered his races out at Langley and some of his Cars Tour races. And what I've known from the first time I met the guy is he is a booming personality. He is a great personality. There's a lot of great personalities in the NASCAR industry. The challenge is some of these great personalities aren't elite talent driving a race car. I'm not saying Brendan Queen is elite talent yet, but everything I see out of this young man behind the wheel of the race car is good. Last night was another big step. Okay, we had, I believe, 3 restarts in the last 10 laps of that race. Okay, if we have 3 restarts at the end of the Xfinity race today or the end of the Cup Series race today, what are the odds that the leader nails all 3 of them? Okay, somebody roughs him up, maybe. Somebody gets a little jump. Someone tries something a little different. Someone makes it 3 wide down in turn number 1. Brendan Queen nailed all 3 of those restarts at the end of the race last night. That's skill. That's talent. That's studying your sport. That's knowing your sport. That's knowing your competitors. And I was just so impressed. The other thing is watching him navigate and work the air, running with William Sawalich and those drivers chasing him down. Man, he manipulated that air a lot. What I'm seeing is this huge booming personality that I think will take the sport by storm. As long as he has talent, what I'm learning from Butterbean, especially in these heavier ARCA cars, is the guy seems to have the talent to go with it, and I think we're in for a treat watching this young man climb the ladder. I really believe that. And we just need to get him to get to MRN a little quicker on the interviews. That's all I'm asking for.
Hey, talk about tonight's truck race. I'm sure you're going to be doing the pit reporting for MRN. On that,
Heart of Healthcare 200 for the Craftsman Truck Series.
Yeah, to me, all eyes are going to be on Corey Heim on this one. Corey is so good here at Kansas Speedway, and the 1.5 mile program has been so good for that Tricon Garage team. So they just won last week at Texas, as a matter of fact. I think the Truck Series has had a great season. I think Corey Heim is doing what we expected Corey Heim to do.
Right.
You know, when you're in the Final Four a few years, he hasn't won the championship yet, but that's the nature of how we do this thing out at Phoenix now. But when you're able to come back year after year after year with the same crew chief, Scott Zipadelli, you're really able to fine tune, and they are. Now, what's been interesting about this year in the Truck Series is, you know, with a guy like Christian Eckes moving on and a guy like Daniel Dye moving on, we've had some young talent take his place. Tyler Ankrum stepped up. He won Rockingham. Tyler, I think, has 5 straight top 5 finishes coming into this race. I think we're seeing what the Truck Series is the development of the next tier of talent. Jake Garcia is another driver that is, I think he's got 7 straight top 10 finishes, and I just think that we're seeing this tier of drivers come up and see what they do. The other part interesting about this Truck Series race this afternoon or this evening is we've got William Byron and Carson Hocevar in the race. So we've got a lot of we've got a couple of NASCAR Cup Series drivers. We've got an uber talented guy with Corey Heim, and we got a whole bunch of these young drivers trying to prove themselves. And this racetrack is a good opportunity to do that here tonight.
Corey Heim's got 3 wins for the season. Talk about that a little bit.
He's just performing better than everybody else. I mean, that's just the nature of it. And I actually talked to his crew chief. His crew chief is Scott Zipadelli, younger brother of championship winning crew chief on the Cup side, Greg Zipadelli. And I talked to Scott, and I said, I understand that Corey wants to move up. And he's in the Toyota line of people, and right now there's no seats up in the Cup side, although he's the development driver for 2311 Racing and the backup driver for them. He's done some starts for Legacy Motor Club, if I'm not mistaken, also. I said, I understand that Corey wants to move up. I said, how much of a blessing is it for you that there's no room up there right now and you get another year with him? And he just rolled his eyes and said, dude, he said, this doesn't happen. He said, you rarely get a championship caliber driver in the Truck Series for 3 consecutive years because they move up now. And it's just the nature of the sport where we're at right now with open seats. And Corey is also a very patient young man. He's very calculated. He's very patient, and he keeps doing what he's doing. He's going to get to the promised land of the Cup Series, and I think he'll get there sooner rather than later. But the thing of it is to your point, Scott, you bring a championship-winning crew chief, he won the championship with Brett Moffitt, Scott did, and you bring Corey Heim together for a 3rd straight year in the Truck Series, you're going to have performances like they do. Now, Scott said, here's the downside. We better win all these races. Right. We better win 3 races by now, because, and he says, and here's where it falls on me. He said, this garage knows if we don't win a race, it's not Corey Heim's fault. Corey Heim is capable of winning every race on the Truck Series. He said, so for every race we don't win, we've got to look at Corey, we've got to look at ourselves and see where did we falter, where did we fail. He said, so the pressure is there, but boy, when you have it, you're watching excellence out there. And Scott, you mentioned it, 3 wins, 0 shock if tonight it's win number 4, especially here at Kansas. They're so good at this racetrack.
He's got 2 poles as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fast, short term, and this is where Scott, you know this sport, better than anybody. You know from your years of driving, there's going fast and there's racing a 150 lap race or 100 lap race or 200 lap race well, and Corey Heim can do both. There's not a lot of people. There's a lot of people who can give you a qualifying lap, or there's a lot of guys that can grind it out, can't qualify worth a darn, but can grind it out and give you a good race. Corey Heim can give you both. And so 2 poles, 3 wins, and again, when they get to qualify, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not one of the fastest trucks here as well. This team and this young man can do it all.
And again, he swept last year with Tricon Garage out here at Kansas Speedway, so he's going for 3 in a row at Kansas tonight.
Yes, he is, and no shock if he gets it. But tune in to MRN because sometimes they don't win 3 in a row also.
Hey, before we get into the Cup Series, I was going to ask you about Thor Sport and those Fords of Ty Majeski and Ben Rhodes. Majeski, the defending champion. Ben Rhodes, also a 2-time champion. Where are those guys at right now?
I think they're good, not great, and that's all right. This has been the fascinating thing about the Truck Series, and I think we're in a really telling time for the Truck Series. And when I say that, I mean right where we're at here in May of 2025, because this is race number 2 of 6 straight. I think Thor Sport feels like they've been good. Ben Rhodes finished second last week at Texas. They've been good, but I think that they're going to use this stretch. We have Texas last week. We have Kansas this week. We go to North Wilkesboro. We go to Charlotte. We go to Nashville. We go to Michigan. I think we're going to use this stretch, and I think teams are going to use this stretch to hopefully get momentum and get up there and mix it up with the Corey Heims of the world. And I think they're perfectly capable drivers and teams of doing it. I think part of the challenge of the Truck Series is, we race at Daytona, then we have 2 weeks off, and then we race here twice, and then we have this week off, and then we got 3 weeks off, and it's that stop and start. And now I think is where teams can get that momentum, and I think Thor Sport is one we're going to watch get some of that momentum as we roll through this next 4 or 5 week stretch.
Hey, I was going to say Matt Crafton, the other Thor Sport guy. Can't forget about him. He's a 3-time champion.
Yes, absolutely, and Matt's the veteran leadership over there, and I think he's right in that same category as well.
Hey, we got a really tight race between William Byron and Kyle Larson. 13 points separate the two.
It's fascinating what's going on the NASCAR Cup side, and I think this is fantastic. We have got 4 or 5 drivers that are just elite right now. I mean, and you mentioned 2 of them: Kyle Larson, obviously, Christopher Bell, or William Byron. Christopher Bell is another in that elite talent category, and a guy that's had no luck at all, but all the speed in the world, could have 5 or 6 wins this season, is Ryan Blaney. And I just feel like right now that those 4 teams, Bell, Larson, Byron, and Blaney, right now are just better than everybody else as far as their speed goes. And then we know the drivers are all elite talent. We know the crew chiefs are all elite talent. It boils down to, Blaney had a couple of pit miscues. They made a change on their pit crew. And so the bottom line is those teams are fine-tuning their efforts, and it's just been fascinating to watch the Cup Series this year, to see week by week who can perform well and who can not have any missteps. And not having any missteps is as big as performing well.
How did Joey Logano win that race at Texas last week?
I'm telling you, this is the easiest answer in the world, Scott, okay? And I mean, you go right out there to the Hollywood Casino if you're ever in this scenario. If there is a restart with less than 10 laps to go and Joey Logano is on the first 2 rows, mortgage the farm on it.
Right.
We were just literally, that's funny you asked that. We were literally just talking. Todd Gordon was Joey's crew chief over at Team Penske. He's part of our MRN crew. And Joey Logano on a restart not only knows what he's going to do, but he knows what the car in front of him, the car alongside of that car, the car to his right, the car behind that one, and the car behind him. He knows what they're all going to do. Joey is a student of restarts and a student of this sport when it comes to last lap heroics. How many times have we seen Joey Logano? Joey Logano has incredible skill sets, okay? If I'm standing there at the window of the Hollywood Casino and the guy looks over and says, we're going to have a late race restart and Joey Logano's on the first row, who do you want to get? I'm going Joey Logano. If he also says, this race is going to be a fuel mileage race. Put my money on Joey Logano. He has got some unique skill sets beyond just general great talent. He has got some unique skill sets. So to me, the Texas thing is, when I saw him lining up on the front row, I'm like, this is over. This is done. Yep, he's so good. He's so good at that stuff.
Why are you surprised that Larson didn't maintain his position better than he did?
Just Joey never makes mistakes on restarts. Joey never gets out of line on restarts. And I don't know that Kyle made a mistake, but I just think you've got to be at 110% on a restart, and Joey is at 110% on every restart. Other guys, a lot of times, are at 105 or even 100%.
Hey, Kyle Larson kind of faded a little bit there at the end of that race, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody over there to see if it was set up wise or what was going on or whatever it is. But the end of and that happens. It's again, Scott, you've fielded ARCA cars and late models and everything over the course of a run. Sometimes the bugaboos or the gremlins or the handling go away on a car, and it's just kind of the nature of the beast.
We've been making picks here on our show, Todd and Scott and I.
I was just getting ready to say that.
The running joke is over the last several weeks, we picked Ryan Blaney I don't know how many weeks in a row, and I'm still going to pick him until he wins. Is this the weekend Ryan Blaney finally pulls off a victory?
If I'm going to pick, I think that's going to be my pick too as well, Kurt. I really do. I just think he's so good at this racetrack. That team is so good at this racetrack. You can only have the best car so many weeks with that talent before you finally close the door and win one of these things. So I really, I think if I'm a betting man, I'm probably going to go Ryan Blaney as well. I just feel like you can only go to the well of having the best car and doing everything they're doing so many times without sometimes coming up with a win. So I think you got a pretty good pick there.
You're going to be listening to Steve Post do the pit coverage on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We got live the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Heart of Healthcare 200 tonight at 6:30, and then tomorrow the Advent Health 400. You can hear it live at 1 o'clock. On Sports Radio 810. Before that, we got a pre-race show at 12 noon. Steve Post will be a part of that, but he's also big into sprint car racing. He hosts the Wing Nation, and I'm sure you were paying attention to what was going on at Lakeside Speedway last night. That was a pretty eventful feature that Rico Abreu won last night.
Yeah, Rico Abreu won, but it was not a jubilant Rico Abreu in victory lane as he got into Kerry Madsen and caused a pretty big crash down there into turn number 3. But boy, I'll tell you what, Rico is on. When you look at this, he's won the last 4 weekends. He won with the World of Outlaws at Knoxville, and then he won a weekly show at Knoxville the next weekend. Last weekend, he won a high-limit race at Texas, and here he is, and they've got another high-limit race for him to go win tonight down at Tri-City, down in Missouri. So Rico Abreu right now with Ricky Warner turning the wrenches on this car, Rico has really got that thing dialed up, and he is very, very fast. And you're right, it was an eventful night, eventful event, and left a lot of people talking. But when we were done, Rico was in victory lane again, and that's kind of been a theme that we're seeing a lot this year.
Were you surprised that Kyle Larson didn't go in and change the wing?
I wonder if there was more damage. And Kyle's sitting in the race car, and I wonder if he didn't see something else in the race car. Yes, to answer your question, if it's solely wing damage, yes. I'm surprised Kyle Larson didn't go do that. My curiosity is, and again, and it just really the fact that he climbed out of the race car, right on the racetrack, leads me to believe that he saw something else that was more significant. Right. I could be totally wrong on that. That's 100% speculation. Because I'm with you. If it's just the wing, I think they change that. But if he saw something else in that race car that was not fixable, then that would explain it. And him getting out of the car out on the racetrack leads me to believe there was something more to it than just the wing.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Brad Sweet, I thought at first they got his car repaired. They pushed him back out on the racetrack after replacing the front axle. But obviously there was heavy damage to the rear axle. I went down there in the pits after the races, and they were looking at that rear axle. There was heavy damage on that 49 car. Shocking that they weren't able to get out and finish that race. That is a rare occurrence for the Casey Kane 49 not to finish a race.
They changed the front axle on that race car.
Yeah. The problem, and the way that car tumbled, there was a couple of big hits in that car. I actually watched it and slowed it down and watched it again. And when they were doing all the changes, I'm like, man, you just wonder. There's so many moving parts and pieces on these cars, and while you're focused on the front of the car, there was some damage on the rear of the car that they didn't have a chance to address. And so, a rare race where Brad Sweet was not in the top 5, and but that's how tough high limit racing is. That's how tough World of Outlaws are going to Williams Grove tonight. You want to talk about a war? Holy cow! Batten down the hatches. That's going to be nuts as well. And I think that's where national sprint car racing is right now. Is no mistakes, no missteps. So you got to be buttoned up and ready to go. And when you have a bad night, try to pull something out of the fire, which I think they did. But it was just too much damage on that 49 car.
Betty Kofoid won Wednesday night at Lincoln Speedway. Tonight, they'll try to get the Morgan Cup in at Williams Grove Speedway after the rain out last night. Last night was supposed to be free live video, but they didn't get that show in last night at Williams Grove.
Yeah, missed opportunity to get a lot of new eyeballs on sprint car racing. I'm sure they'll do something to get that again, the folks at World Racing Group and Dirt Vision. But, this is the Posse versus the Outlaws, and I'll tell you, the Outlaws have owned them the last couple of years, but what we saw at Lincoln Speedway, it appears to me that the Posse has closed the gap a little bit now. Tonight will be a true test at Williams Grove, but it does appear to me that the Pennsylvania Posse has maybe closed that gap, and this is a rivalry that ebbs and flows all the time. I mean, we might be 2 years from now, and it's like the Outlaws are going there just to get their butts handed to them. Because a couple of years ago that was the case, and I sense the Posse kind of hit rock bottom last year with it, and it seems like they've got a lot of speed. Tonight's the next test in that spirited rivalry.
We had Christopher Bell on earlier in the show. He seemed to think Darren Pittman driving the Kreitz car tonight.
I believe so. Yes. Yep. And that'll be hard to handle right there for everybody.
And Chase Dietz is another guy you want to watch out for. What a season he's had so far.
Yeah, we had him on Wing Nation this week. What a season, man! This guy is probably going to be breakout sprint car driver of the year. I mean, and he has the thing that is that he's only got one win. He won the icebreaker up at Lincoln, but he has got 5 straight second place finishes, including with the World of Outlaws on Wednesday night. Asked him, are you frustrated with that? Or are you happy with that? And he said both. I mean, you want to be running at the front of the field, but needs to convert some of these second places to wins. And here's the thing, you never expect to, when the World of Outlaws roll into Pennsylvania, you never really expect a new winner because there's just so many tried and true stars. But the way Chase Dietz has been running, that would be a new winner that I don't think would shock many people. He's been that good in that with that team.
Steve, as soon as we get down here, we're headed out. What a beautiful weekend out at Kansas Speedway. Can't wait to get out the racetrack today. Look forward to seeing you out here, and thanks for coming on. Appreciate you spending time with us.
Good chatting with you, boys. Always good, and I look forward to seeing you out at the racetrack this afternoon.
All right,
Thank
Steve.
you, Steve.
We'll see you.
Yep. See you, boys.
Steve Post. He does a great job. You'll hear him live on Sports Radio 810 WHB tonight and tomorrow with both those races. And
you got a busy weekend, doesn't
out
he?
there, man. It's this weather. You can't ask for better weather out here, can you?
No, I just went outside just before the hour 2, and man, it's getting really nice out there today, guys. No excuses for not going out to the racetrack today, because I think you have a great walk-up crowd. I know tomorrow's Mother's Day, so you might have some things going on, but tomorrow will be a great race to watch too. But tonight, under the lights, Kansas Speedway with those sparks flying, I mean, as well as I do, guys. That's going to
be a
that's
good race.
A cool spectacle, man. When
so
you see
again,
that.
the Cup cars are on the track at 3:30 this afternoon with practice and qualifying. Then the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Heart of Healthcare 200, 6:30 tonight. Tomorrow, the Cup race, the Advent Health 400 gets a green flag at 2. And again, we'll have pre-race show on at 12 noon. Here over on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
That race starts at 2 o'clock, doesn't it?
2 o'clock, green flag. So looking forward to that.
And it's Mother's Day too, guys.
Yeah.
So make sure if you're going out to the racetrack, make sure you take care of your mom before you head out or afterwards. Make sure you call your mom, visit your mom, get the cards to your mom, and then you can go out to the racetrack.
Hey, all of our moms are passed.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you get a little older.
But we still
you
think of
lose
our
your
moms all the time.
But I've got my mother-in-law and my wife for both moms, and so that's
I'm
going to be.
post up a bunch of pictures of my mom
Yep.
tomorrow.
I usually
Absolutely.
post a couple
Yep.
pictures of my mom and my.
Do your mom well. She was a great lady, your mother.
You knew her.
Yeah. Yeah, she pleasure as I'm privileged to have known your mom. So
Right.
I did know Todd's mom though, but I've heard
she
you
passed
talk about it.
before I got around here. But I do know that everybody is looking forward to this weekend because it is the weather. You know, we were worried a little bit there about.
You don't get that often in the middle of May.
Well, it's a crap roll dice. You know,
Usually
roll of
get
the dice.
tornado warnings this time
Well,
of
that's
the
what
year.
I'm saying.
Hailstorms,
It could be
stuff like that.
It could be insane. And you see some of the weather for next week. Oh my gosh, we're looking at mid-80s.
Wow, it's summertime.
Summertime weather next
is
week.
here.
So
Turn on the air conditioner.
Get the shorts out.
Gonna have to have the AC on. Go from the heater to the AC
Right.
in a week of. But
So John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah.
We probably need to get to that. We haven't with an interview we did that's not been heard yet.
nice guy.
John Hunter Nemechek is driver of the 42 Toyota for Legacy Motor Club. He's teammates with Eric Jones out there and sometimes Jimmy Johnson, who's part owner of that team. We had John Hunter Nemechek on the show. He's getting ready for the NASCAR Cup Series weekend out at Kansas Speedway. Let's listen to that interview with John Hunter Nemechek. He had a great finish down Texas Top 10, 8th place run. Just let's first talk about that. That's one of your better finishes of the season so far.
Yeah, it is. It's been a decent season for us. We've had some ups and downs, but definitely a lot of consistency. So feel good about where we're at as a team. We're pushing hard, striving for more each and every day, and continuing to learn every time that we're at track. So excited to see where the future takes us. Excited to have the team behind me, all the hard work and effort that's going in at Legacy Motor Club, and looking forward to Kansas this weekend.
Hey, talk about driving for Legacy Motor Club a little bit.
Yeah, it's been an amazing experience for me, being able to drive for Legacy Motor Club and Jimmy Johnson, and really just full team effort. You're kind of building from the ground up, brick by brick, trying to be a competitive team with no alliance with any of the other major teams. Having Toyota behind us is a huge help as well. But having a 7-time champion as your boss and mentor, advisor, friend, everything under the sun is great as well.
Talk about driving for Jimmy Johnson a little bit.
Yeah, Jimmy has been great to drive for. He's not afraid to speak up and help me. It's been great from the standpoint of just having him in our corner and really pushing hard and helping us to be better, both myself and Eric. But I haven't really found anything that Jimmy sucks at yet, which is good.
Right.
So hopefully he doesn't suck as a team owner. He definitely hasn't so far, and looking forward to seeing where he takes this team and glad to be a part of it.
You finished 8th at Texas. Your teammate, Eric Jones, he finished 5th. That was a pretty good finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was. I think that's Eric's first top 5 of the year, and definitely had 2 really strong cars within the Legacy Motor Club stable. So excited to have the finishes that we did. Eric had really good speed all weekend. Both cars unloaded with good speed. We didn't qualify that well, but we were able to drive our way up in there and really kind of get ourselves in position to help us on the final restarts. And feel like if a couple of the restarts there at the end may have gone a little bit different, or I could have done a couple of things different, probably would have had a better result. And Eric had a shot to win it lining up row 2. So definitely a step in the right direction for sure as far as speed and finishes goes. We just got to continue that momentum and continue pushing on.
That track seemed pretty treacherous. How difficult was that working your way up through the field there at Texas? It
was difficult for sure. It it's definitely something that is not easy to do there. You have to be able to get through, and there's not really a lot of two-wide racing. But we were able to play some strategy. We were able to have really good pit stops all day. I was able to pass some cars on track and have some good restarts as well, and really stay out of the mess. And it helped us get up towards the front there. And then all those restarts at the end, we kept gaining 2, losing 2, gaining 2, losing 2, and then netted out 8th there.
Do you have any close calls there during the race?
There were a couple, I would say. Definitely a couple of close ones, but overall racing at Texas, it can get sketchy, that's for sure.
Kansas Speedway is a track. You know your way to victory lane. You won 2 Xfinity Series races. You won a truck race out here a couple of years ago. You like this racetrack. You had pretty good history there. Your dad had good history there when he won a big race there back in 2004. Yeah, for whatever reason, Kansas has really suited my driving style. It's definitely helped me quite a bit from my career standpoint on winning there in both the truck and the Xfinity Series. And it's a place that I really love to go to, being able to move around, run the bottom, run the middle, run the top, being able to run the fence, tire degradation, slipping and sliding around. I've had a lot of fun at Kansas and hope to do the same this weekend. I hope that we can carry our momentum from Texas last weekend into Kansas for another 1.5 miles, and I feel like our 1.5 mile program has definitely gotten better throughout the year and even through last year as well. What's going to be the biggest challenge for this particular racetrack? Man, I think for us is getting grip in our race cars and being able to have speed, track position as well. It's hard to pass, but you got to have grip in your race cars for Kansas, and flipping and sliding around, like I said, is definitely a big thing there with tire fall off and how the tires wear, I should say. But being able to have versatility in your race car and being able to run the middle some, run the top, run the bottom a little bit, you just got to be able to go where they aren't air-wise and really try and just help yourself.
You finished 9th at Darlington, 8th at Talladega, and 8th again at Talladega. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's been good. We've had some decent speed. We've pushed really hard, and it's just a continued growth within Legacy Motor Club from a team standpoint, from a car standpoint, and from myself as a driver standpoint, still learning this car and learning what it needs and trying to do the best that I possibly can.
How difficult is it driving the new car? How about that?
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough for sure. It's definitely different than anything that I'm used to, I would say. Something that is tough, something that can get frustrating at times. But everyone's in the same boat. So you got to figure out how to drive it to its max potential. It definitely is a little bit of a different driving style, I would say, than what I have been accustomed to in the past. Aerodynamics are different. There's just a lot of things that are different.
Qualifying is such a big thing. I mean, you came from 28th to 8th last week at Texas, so you can work your way up through the field. But just how important is that to get a good qualifying run on Saturday?
Yeah, I think for us, going out later is better, hopefully. Going out early last week at Texas definitely hurt us speed-wise, and qualifying 28th was tough. But with the metrics and how things run, we really wanted a good week last week to kind of bump ourselves back up in the metrics and to be able to go out later in qualifying to try and help us. So hopefully it helps us. I definitely don't think it can hurt us. But looking forward to getting on track this weekend and seeing what our Dollar Tree Toyota Camry XSE has.
You know, we're looking at your merch page right now. Talk about your merchandise a little bit.
Merch is definitely a big thing, and I appreciate all of the support from the fans. Everyone at track that stops by the souvenir hauler. We're there every Sunday signing autographs. Kind of hanging out with everyone, and definitely online as well.
So you'll be out there on Sunday, right? Signing
Yes,
autographs.
yeah, we will be out there Sunday morning. Yes, sir.
Hey, Kirk, there was 101 cars up at US 36 last night.
That's a good number for a weekly track.
Right.
First of all, that was John Hunter Nemechek you just listened to. But, yeah, 100. You get over 100 cars at a weekly track, that's really good.
Right.
So they had the 305 sprints up there at US 36 Raceway last night. We haven't got the results posted yet.
25 sprint cars were up there last night.
That's a pretty good number. I don't have the results pulled up here. While I'm doing that, let's talk about the the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, not NASCAR. This is the dirt track racing we're talking about. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open tonight. Knoxville, they're going to be racing up there tonight. The McCarls will be back up there after we watched both Austin and Carson McCarl at Lakeside Speedway last night. Both those guys will be back up there home track up at Knoxville tonight. But if you're going to go to Knoxville, visit the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. They have the Manzanita Speedway Salute going on from now until October the 1st at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. And they've already rolled in a lot of legendary race cars from the Manzanita Speedway era, which that track closed in 2008. Remember, Jesse Hockett won the last sanctioned race at Manzanita Speedway.
I'd love to go up there tonight, but I'm going to go to the truck race.
That's where I'm going to be. We're going to be out at the NASCAR Craftsman truck race tonight out at Kansas Speedway. But the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week. And don't forget to sign up for the Corvette going to be given away this year. It's a competition yellow ZR1 plus the ZTK performance package. You win $30,000 if you're a grand prize winner along with the car. And if you got until the last day of the Knoxville Nationals to get signed up for it, go to winacorvette.org to get registered. They'll draw for it a week after. They got it, there's a state law up there with the lotteries. You got to wait a week after the final day of the drawing, which is the last day of the Nationals. Winacorvette.org to get registered. And of course, don't forget about the gift shop up there. Great items in the gift shop. Go to sprintcarstuff.com. I brought up the US 36 Raceway results. The winner of the IMCA Race Saver Sprint Car feature last night was Gunnar Pike, who started on the pole. I assume he led all 25 laps of that race last night. Shane Bailey won the B-Mod feature. Tyler Caldwalder won the USA Stock Car feature at US 36 Raceway last night. E-Mod winner was Blake Hayes, and Mitch Ross won the pure stock winner. I was looking at the car counts up there. 18 pure stocks, 22 E-Mods, 21 IMCA Race Saver Sprint cars, 15 USRA B-Mods, 25 USRA Star Cars. Now, those are good numbers for a weekly track when you compare them to some of the numbers we've been seeing at a lot of these racetracks. US 36 Raceway, John Bowler, the promoter up there,
doing a good job.
Good car count. Yeah.
He's doing a great job up there.
Dirt late model racing last night at Farmer City Speedway. Ricky Thornton Jr. passed Brandon Shepard with about 10 laps to go last night to win that feature event last night. This is kind of a home track for B. Shep out there. He's from Illinois, driving that Rocket House car right now, but Tyler Courtney had the better of him last night. Ricky Thornton Jr. had the better of him last night. I was thinking of Tyler Courtney. Ricky Thornton Jr. passing Brandon Shepard with 10 laps to go to win the feature at Farmer City. They're at Fairbury Speedway tonight. That was a Lucas Oil late model series event last night. Ricky Thornton Jr. leads the points over Devin Moran, who won earlier this week. Jonathan Davenport is third, Garrett Albertson fourth. Both Davenport and Moran were also winners in the Flow Night in America earlier this week. But last night at Farmer City and tonight at Fairbury are both Lucas Oil national events. And, of course, we're only thinking about the top four in the points because that's who makes it in the final races for the championship. RTJ, Devin Moran, Jonathan Davenport, and Garrett Albertson are in the top four. And, of course, we're thinking a couple of weeks away from the Show Me 100 down at Lucas Oil Speedway. So we'll be down there covering that event. So a lot of big Lucas Oil late model events coming up.
Kirk, we need to do part 2 of Rico's.
Let us do that. More of Rico Abreu, last night's winner at Lakeside Speedway. Before that, we spoke to him on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show. Here's part 2 of that interview with Rico Abreu.
You're currently 4th in points. You're 98 points back of Brad Sweet. Do you think you got a chance to catch him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very determined to get up there in the mix with Brad. I think that right now we're just focused on, racing those third and second in points. I honestly haven't looked at the points over the last few weeks. And, as I was the last few races, those guys had a little advantage on me just with their consistent podium finishes. So for me, consistently getting on the podium is a big advantage, and then getting in the mix of winning these races. The high limit point structure, they reward you on winning races and podium finishes, and that's where we need to be. And that's really what, Ricky and I have put in a big effort this year with Zach and Brady and, just getting that consistent feel at every track we go to. So we're going to some good tracks here this month, the month of May, and I'm really excited to get to some of these places where we've been really good at over the last few years. The 81 on Wednesday, Lakeside, we've had success. Haven't had much time at Lakeside, but over the last few races we've gone there, we've been pretty decent. And then, to roll right into Pennsylvania, New York and Pennsylvania, I think those are going to be good tracks for us.
I want to talk more about 81 and Lakeside here in just a few minutes. Let's step back. Knoxville is a racetrack you put a lot of emphasis on, and it's really paying off for you right now. You have to be excited. Last 2 times you've been to Knoxville, you won the World of Outlaws up there. You held off Kyle Larson up there in a 65-car field, and then you won a weekly race up there the next week at Knoxville. Your efforts at Knoxville, you won the Cappy last year. You did well at the Nationals. You have to be excited about what's coming up in August at Knoxville.
Knoxville is one of my favorite racetracks to go to just because of the technicality it takes to, navigate winning races. It's so difficult and to run the bottom there, and the middle and the top, and understand how the races develop, from the local shows 20 laps to World of Outlaw 30-lap races there, and to the Knoxville Nationals to basically it's twin 25s, but it's really a 50-lap race, and you just have to each of those series have different it just takes different strategies to put yourself in position to win there. And the Knoxville Nationals, the formatting and the way the race develops, it's so different than what you practice going there every year. So, I think that's what makes it so important for us to go to the local shows, because their format, the way they invert the heat races, it really can prepare you for the heat races at the Knoxville Nationals. And then the World of Outlaw races is 30-lap features, and I feel like that could really prepare you for the A main event on Saturday night of the Knoxville Nationals. So there's different ways to go about it, and I think the more data we can collect as a team and putting ourselves in those positions, you can really work on executing on Saturday night.
I was at both races, at your local race and your World of Outlaw race. Talk about your chances of winning the Knoxville Nationals.
I would think pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean we've had success at Knoxville the last few years, so it's the Knoxville Nationals is the most difficult race a race car driver in our sport of sprint car racing could win. And you look at the list of names on there, and they're all badasses. There's no flukes. They've all had amazing racing careers and from past and present. And you look at Kyle Larson and David Gravel and these Brad Sweets and the Donnie Schatzes, and they're all in the primes of their careers right now, and they are very, very successful race car drivers. So that's who you're going to stack up against on Saturday night, and it's a race to manage. And for me, I try not to get caught up in just worrying about winning the race and it being 4 or 5 months away from us, but it's more so just the process and the build up to getting to the Knoxville Nationals that whole week. I'm going to run the 360 Nationals this year. I'm going to run the Capitani Classic. I'm going to go to the World of Outlaw race in June again, and then the local Weiler night, I think it's July 26th, leading up to the 360 Nationals. So as much as we can get on the track for my team and I to dissect and collect all the data we can, that's the big picture for me. And just spending those moments with the most amazing race fans in the country that support us sprint car drivers. They consistently show up to Knoxville Raceway, and all these, World of Outlaw high limit races is such a big deal for us. And, we're all very grateful to be out here racing. And I think, if you're going to win the Knoxville Nationals, it's all meant to be, and it's the guy upstairs is going to put you in position to do it.
We're showing your shirt. You got a Golden Doodle. Talk about the Golden Doodle. I've got a Golden Doodle as well.
Gus is my dog. Gus, he's life, man. He runs the ship. He's the real team leader of Rico Avery Racing. So we all look up to him to make the final decisions of anything that goes on around here. And his number one thing is what he's always worried about: what's for lunch, or what's for breakfast, what's for lunch, and what's for dinner, and then what time can he take his naps. So we got Gus is great energy for us. He's amazing with the race fans. We've got really lucky with him. Our 25-pound Golden Doodle that runs the show. He travels the country with us. He's got the life, and he loves everybody, that's for sure.
You had to be disappointed you had to cut your Australian trip short. Did you get completely healed up from the injury that you had?
Yeah, it was quite eye-opening for me. Very humbling experience. Not fun being hurt. I, had an accident in Australia, learned my lesson from the accident, and, I came home and I got right back to work. My team, went through some health issues, and I was fortunate enough to be home during that time just to allow everybody to, be a big push to allow everybody to get back healthy. And we, we're just continuing to dig deep here in this sport and front ourselves to everything that's going on in the industry and in the world, and to be able to travel across the country and race, and just we're all grateful for the circumstances we're in. And Australia, it sucked leaving, that's for sure. And I hated it for the fans, but I'm gonna make it up for them when I go back, and we're gonna do things bigger and better there, and try to win that high limit big Aussie race.
Todd is really good at showing your merch page. Talk about your merchandise.
Yeah, we thank you guys for advertising that and bringing it up. We take a lot of pride in the merchandise we present the race fans. It's a story. It's that we from the design side to the presentation side to integrating Gus into the merch and our race cars in the big and bright colors. And, we are very, very appreciative of the race fans that continue to support us at these races. And it's a big deal for us to, that everybody has an incredible experience when they come to the races. And, we're lucky to be able to supply racing shirts and sweatshirts and hats and koozies to the fans that come support us at the races.
Why is 81 Speedway such a good track for you? Seems like you won there a lot.
We're 2 for 2 there, and I think my crew chief is like 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 with, between me and Donnie Schatz. So it's a good track. We just have a good balance there. We've always, Ricky and I have unloaded well there. We qualified good, and we've been in position to win the 2 times we went, and we executed. I honestly couldn't tell you why. I just think my car and my crew chief and my team do an amazing job consistently here, and just the package we bring unloads, and it's just fast, and it's a pleasure to drive a fast race car.
And then Lakeside Speedway, that has a lot of similar characteristics to maybe Knoxville, some of the bigger racetracks. You run well at that track as well.
Yeah, we've been fast at Lakeside. That we were in position to win the inaugural high limit race, and then we went back last year in the spring and struggled a little bit. I think we finished 8th and 9th. We were fighting through some mechanical issues with our car both nights, and but salvaged 2 top 10 finishes there, and great facility, not far from the NASCAR track. I know a lot of the Cup guys are going to come over on Friday night, and with Larson Racing is going to be a big deal, and they have potential to have a huge crowd.
And there was a big crowd last night at Lakeside Speedway.
There was.
But Rico also had a hand of Larson not having a fun night at Lakeside.
I beat the crowd out.
You did. You were smart to do that. Well, I waited around, got all the sound, and it didn't take very long. I still got home at midnight last night.
Hey,
so
Kirk, the Cup race is going to be on at 2:00 on Sunday on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
It is. Hope to see everybody out at the speed. This is a good weekend to head out and watch some race. Go there and be there in person. That if you've never been to Kansas Speedway, it's easy in, easy out. You don't have to pay to park. That you don't have to worry about the traffic getting in and out like you do at Lakeside Speedway.
You can bring your own food in.
And,
food and drink, too.
Yeah, it's all good. So better to be there than watch on TV.
Absolutely, especially on a day like today.
Absolutely.
It's
couldn't ask for a better.
It's beautiful out there, man. Grab you
weather.
some food, throw it in a cooler, grab you a couple beers, and bring your cooler, and you're set. You don't have to spend nearly as much. Save that money for merchandise. You can buy some cool merchandise with the money you save on beer. You know how much beer and food costs at any sporting event. Well, Kansas allows you to bring in some stuff in a cooler, I mean, why wouldn't you not take advantage of that?
Right.
I mean, that's an amazing, situation that they allow. I mean, anybody else, have you ever heard of anybody allowing you to bring in your own beer?
Right.
I mean, no, it just doesn't happen. So it's a pretty good gig, guys. I mean, and like Kirk was saying, parking's great, but in and out of the place is amazing. You're in and out, and you're on the highway in 5 minutes, and you're heading home again.
You don't have to wait on a train to
There's
get
no
out of
train,
Lakeside,
and heck,
out of Kansas Speedway.
I talked to a lot of media members yesterday, and they say the same thing. It's so nice to be able to get out of the speedway and back on the highway and back to their hotels.
We're spoiled here. We're spoiled.
Way spoiled.
Lakeside needs another exit.
Just can't do it though because of the railroad track. It's just impossible because.
And as I was walking to the car last night, I heard the horns of the freight train coming. And so we had to wait on a 100-car freight train to roll through before after I even started my car to get out.
They do their best to work with them on Fridays. They don't nearly have the trains that they have roll through there. But that show went a little long last night because it didn't start until, Kirk called me or sent me a text and said,
so many people waiting at the ticket window to buy tickets to get in. They had already gone through qualifying, and so I think they were waiting. And we had an emergency in the crowd.
A heart attack.
I don't know if it was some kind of a medical emergency. I hope the guy is okay. I was really concerned about that. Watch somebody carted out of there on a stretcher. I hated to see that. And so prayers go out to whoever that was last night. So I think that was partial reason for the delay. And also they had such a long line of people waiting to buy tickets to get in. I think they were wanting to give that time for people to get in because you know how the traffic is on a Friday night trying to get in. There's road construction.
Well, that was the other thing I was.
And that slows people down. And
you had a lot of road construction.
We're going to do a pre-race show at 12 to 1 o'clock.
That's right. Tomorrow at 12 noon, tune in for our pre-race show and lead in for MRN's coverage of that's the Motor Racing Network, live coverage of the Advent Health 400 tomorrow on Sports Radio 810 WHB, so tune in for that. And, hey, there's one note I was wanting, we talked about US 36 Raceway. Maybe one of the reasons they had so many cars up there last night, comparison to some of the other weekly tracks, it was the Mike Franks Memorial Race last night.
There you go.
So that may have had a lot to do with it. Remember, they were supposed to have the Mike Franks Memorial Race as part of the non-wing War Sprint Series a couple weeks back, and it got rained out. We were planning on being up there for that.
Right.
We would like to have been up to US 36 last night to honor Mike Franks, but we had other commitments. And also, I was down at Central Missouri Speedway last Saturday night, and they had the Malvern Bank Late Model Series.
Who won
there.
that?
And a guy by the name of Dylan Silman won his first ever feature in the Malvern Bank Late Model Series. So congratulations to him. Pretty good car count down there. It was great.
How many cars were there?
They had 20 cars, I think, in the late model class.
Don't forget about that Ironman series that's coming up on Saturday.
US 36, that's Friday night. Next Friday night, the
May
Ironman
16th.
Series.
May 16th.
Yeah, and it'll be Saturday night at I-35 Speedway. So Friday night at US 36 Raceway, Saturday night at I-35, and also next weekend, USAC Silver Crown cars on the big track, the big half mile at Belleville, and on the small track, the USAC Midgets. I've been over there the last 2 years for that, looking at heading back over. Then Sunday night, a week from Sunday, May 18th, the USAC Midgets will be at Sweet Springs.
Good stuff.
That'll be a good show.
That'll be a big event as well.
Are you going to go down there for that one,
Plan on
Kurt?
it. Yeah. Why not?
All right, we're going to make
Only an
our
hour
picks
down
real
the
quick
road.
before we head
Let's
out
make
of
our
here.
picks.
So my picks for the NASCAR race today, Sunday, sorry. I'm going with Tyler Reddick as my pick. I'm going out on a limb. Tyler
He's
Reddick.
won at Kansas before.
He's got a win at Kansas, and he's got pretty good odds. And my backup pick will be an easy Kyle Larson. I'm not going to, if I'm going to throw a backup pick in there, I'm going to throw one in. It's probably got a good shot of winning. So Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson are my picks. Scott Traylor, who you got? Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain as your backup. So that's pretty good.
And I'm picking Ryan Blaney till he wins.
And then William Byron.
Who's your
as-
backup pick?
William Byron.
William Byron.
He, his only win this year is the Daytona 500, but he's the current points leader.
He's still got the
Right.
points. So
He's run better than anybody else, but he's only got one win. Of course, C-Bell's got more wins than anybody with 3. Denny Hamlin's got 2 wins. Kyle Larson's got 2 wins this year.
So last week I had Busch and Elliott. Was no go for me.
It's been over a year since Chase Elliott has won a race.
Yeah, that's not. You kind of start feeling bad for the Elliott. He had that incident, and then hasn't really been the same.
It hasn't been the same, has it?
Nope. I mean, he had one good race when he came back, and that was about it. I mean,
When he had that snowboarding accident.
Yep, that kind of.
He sat out.
He's
for a period of
currently
time.
4th in points.
Yep,
83 points back.
He needs to win some races.
If you get him a good win and a couple of stage wins, that would sure make you feel better about tomorrow's race, wouldn't it? If you were
right
Chase Elliott.
So
So
I'm going to make this 3 straight for Penske. Remember 2 weeks ago they had
Absolutely.
Austin Cindric win at Talladega. Joey Logano wins at Texas. Now it's Ryan Blaney's turn
there you go.
to win at Kansas.
Well,
That's my pick.
It'd be a fun race tonight. We don't normally pick the truck wins, but if we're going to be out there at the race,
Hard to pick against Corey Hine.
yeah, I was going to say Heim, and I don't know. Like you said, that truck race is always fun at Kansas. They pop a big old hole in that air out there, and man,
I'll throw a monkey wrench into the Corey Heim run.
Matt
Watch
Crafton.
out for Ben Rhodes.
Ben Rhodes.
Yeah.
Matt Crafton's running again out there. I can't tell.
He's won out here.
How many times has that guy raced at Kansas Speedway? Every year since I was a season ticket holder to
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah, he's been
that
around.
guy's been in the truck races a long time.
3-time Truck Series champion.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports RBN, the Race Boys Broadcasting Network. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott,
We'll see you at 12 noon tomorrow.
See you at 12 noon tomorrow.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.